We really love our little mini light. However, one of the things I do not like is this. These lights are so bright that we spend half the time walking around, turning them on and off, trying to make the place a little bit dimmer, maybe to keep the glare off the television or just to be able to sit under and read without that super bright glare. So what we're going to do today is install a dimmer switch in this panel. If you're like us, you have the WeRV app, which is if you have the remote controlled lights, remote controlled awning, all the little remote controlled devices you can do from an app. This is the dimmer switch and how to wire that in. So we're going to hopefully go from these bright lights to a nice dimmable LED ceiling light. So here's the dimmer I bought from Amazon. It's just a little 12 volt dimmer switch. It's the 3-wire kind. So it has a red and a black and a white. You'll see some that have 4 wires, and this is not that. So I will put a link to this. It's an inexpensive switch. And all it's going to do is just interrupt the power, and we're going to be able to control it with our little switch. So I'll leave the link for that. The first thing we need to do is cut the power. I've got the camper plugged in and the solar is on. So I'm going to turn off the battery, disconnect the battery, and I'm going to also go unplug the camper, and then we'll get to work behind the panel and you can take a look and see what it's all about. Okay, so I've cut power to the camper. I'm going to take this panel off so we can see behind it. Some of the things I've read is that the controller is actually behind the microwave with all the other wires, so we may have to remove the microwave. I'll show you that. I've never had it out before, so we'll take a look at that. Let's get this panel off first. So now that the control panel is loose, I took a quick look back here, and it looks like the controller is actually located behind the microwave. So let's take a minute and get this microwave out so we can get a good look at the wires and just see exactly what we're looking at back here. So we can see the microwave is just held on with this trim ring with 4 screws. It's attached to the microwave. So what I did was I reached back here. You can actually see the outlet through the hole. I was able to just unplug the power from the microwave first. And now I'm going to just slide it out and we'll set it aside. Now that the microwave is out, we can see here is the hub for this little remote. If you have one that's remote control with an app, you're going to have something like this. It's a Unity controller. You can see on the top it says 2109S. That is this model camper. I'm guessing you've got one similar. Rockwood probably uses Unity. I don't know what others use. So you can see where all the wires come in and out. We're going to trace. I'm guessing it's going to be this red and white striped wire because that goes up into the ceiling. We're going to trace that through just to make sure. I'll show you how I'm going to figure that out, and then we'll track it back to our controller and we'll install our switch. If you've never seen behind your microwave before, I have not. But here it is. We actually just got a rainstorm. I think it's good that it did. Looks like it's time to seal the roof again. We've got top of the microwave was wet, and that's right below where I've got the think it's the Wi-Fi Ranger antenna, so it looks like it's time to get on that again. Good reminder to always caulk your roof. All right, here we go. Okay, I am going to show you one thing because I've never had to do this either, but these little ceiling LED lights, if you want to get the cover off, just turn it counterclockwise until it stops, then you'll feel it come loose. So it's the opposite for putting it back on. You would just put it into the groove there. You can see, I don't know if you can see it, there's little grooves, and it just twists. And that's it. So we're gonna pop this down and take a look behind it. Just got 3 screws up there. Okay, so here's what I wanted to see. Remove the 3 screws, and now we're looking at colored wires again, right? So the red and white comes in, and the solid white is with it. That's the pair that we just saw coming up for the controller. So now we need to trace the red and white wire back to see where it's coming out of here. So let's take a look at that next. Okay, so here's where we're going to trace the wires. We've got the red and the white coming down from the ceiling, which we've already verified goes to our overhead lights. It goes just around through this tie down on the floor. Okay, you can see where it splits here. They split the white, which goes into a bundle of whites. That'll come into play later. And here's the red and the white stripe. So I'm going to follow this through. It goes from here, ties into this white wire, which I can see goes to this connector. This is for my overhead lights. So here's what I'm going to do. Watch this. We're going to just unplug it. So let me show you one thing. Ceiling lights are powered on. Now, all I'm going to do is just wiggle this switch out. Oh, there we go. Okay. And the ceiling lights are off. So to verify yes, that's what's connecting the power to our overhead lights. So let's just leave it unplugged for now. And that way we don't have to worry about any kind of electrical problems. And we are going to take that red and white, and this is what we're going to hook the switch into. So one thing I did realize is that the wires that came on the switch are very short, right? So since we need to get it all the way from the control panel, you know, probably a good 12 inches or so with a little slack, we need to get all the way behind the panel. So I'll show you on the panel, there's already a white bundle of white wires that we can connect into. The red and the black is what's going to control the power. So I've got some, just some 12 volt. This is 16 gauge wire, but what I've got from another project in the camper. So I just cut the length of it. We're going to connect black and red just to give us a little extension. So I've got, you can use wire nuts. You can use these little butt connectors. The factory, actually I'll show you behind the panel, the factory already, they use these WAGO connectors, little lever nut connectors. So essentially, you're going to put your wire in, and it holds it tight. So we're going to do that for both sides, black and red. So they're not going to go anywhere. That's good enough. The factory is good enough for me. So I already have these, so we're going to use them, and then we'll get this put up on the panel. Okay, not real sure how much of this I'm going to be able to get, just because we don't have a good tripod stand for this. So here's the dimmer switch that we bought on Amazon. There's the 2 lengths of cable, right? This is just what we added, so you can get from where we're going to mount it over to the bundle of wires here. So one thing I did do was, I'll show you this in a minute. I did extend, I didn't have white, I don't know what it is. I did extend the white wire to the bundle of whites that connect into this lever connector. There was one port open on that, so I tied in with all the other whites, and I'll show you where I'm going to mount this. So for now, we're just going to test it. So I'd like to just kind of hook it up first, and then we'll secure it in the mounting spot. So what I'm going to end up doing is the cable that we will pull off again. There's the red and the white. I really just want to get over to this cable. There's plenty of slack on the red and white side, so this is what I'm going to use to tie into. We're going to cut this so it's two sections. Red goes on one side, black goes on the other side, so it basically power goes through, interrupts. This dimmer switch interrupts that, controls the power up and down, and then feeds it back through the wire. So it's just a little interrupter is all it's doing, controlling the amount of power going through there. So we're going to do that. I'll show you the little rough connector we get, and then let's give it a shot and try it out. So from the switch, we have the red and the black wire that we put the little extensions on. So this red and white striped wire is the one we cut. So on one end of it, I put the red. I've got the red here going into a connector. And then on the other cut side of the red and white wire, I put the black. Again, you've got them connected with the connectors. And so that's where the power comes in, goes to your switch, comes back out of the switch, and then continues along the wire to the roof, to the ceiling. Okay, moment of truth to see if we figure this out. So we're going to reconnect the wires that we disconnected back into the control panel. And then from there, we're going to go ahead and test our switch. And if we figured it out right, it's going to all be okay. All right. Here's the connector. I'm going to make sure, so this is essentially under and behind the microwave. So let's just think through that and make sure we're not going to pinch wires when we put the microwave back in. So all I want to do here is just plug it in. Okay. Now this time, when I plugged it in, the lights did not come back on, which is what we expected. I've got the dimmer switch all the way off. So let's give it a shot. See if we can. I'm just going to turn it on and start turning it up. Let's see what happens. Ooh. Oh, that's going to be so nice. Oh, that's perfect. Okay, so one thing we're going to do next is drill a little hole. I'm going to use about a 1/4 inch drill bit to get a hole through here so the stem of that dimmer switch comes through. I'm going to leave enough room next to it so if I want one for maybe the awning lights, that LED strip gets kind of bright at night. If I want one next to it, we'll have room to put one side by side. All right, I'm going to mark it and then just make sure we're okay on the back side and just do a quick drill through. All right. Okay, so what I ended up using ended up with a 9/32 inch drill bit. Just fit it, poke it through from the back, put your nut on from the outside. Once you push this back on, we're going to show lights off with the dimmer switch. Now lights on. Whoop, whoop, whoop. Okay, you can dim them all the way down. Sometimes with LEDs, you'll notice you will get that. It's almost like it's going down in steps, but it does not. This is not flickering like sometimes you see in your home. You'll get some flicker with the dimmer switch. This one actually looks really nice. Dims way down. It's all the way down. All right, easy project. We're just going to put the microwave back in, no problem. And I don't know, I'd say you can probably get this done in an hour or so. So nice without having to walk around the camper turning lights on and off all night long. You can do it. Let me know if you have any questions. I'll try to help.